Hi, my name is legally Roberta Frances Buckley
Can you
Peckstein.
tell us now how you met Dick, your husband?
Yes, when I was working in all these different places in New York, I lived in an apartment in Brooklyn, not a great neighborhood, but my mother said God protected us somehow, riding the subways in a bad, getting off in a bad neighborhood. But I had 3 roommates, and one of them, her boyfriend, graduated from RPI in Troy, and that's where Dick was going to school. And so I knew quite a few people from RPI, and I knew their songs. So I was invited to a cocktail party in Manhattan and fixed up with a date from Texas, an engineer and good-looking guy, and he took me to this party and promptly just left me and began to circulate. So I heard these guys singing RPI songs, so I went over and joined them, and Dick was among them. So we got acquainted, and he took my phone number, and in about a week, we were seeing each other.
What was your first impression of Dad the first time you met him?
Oh, just that he was a good-looking guy.
Okay.
Very good-looking guy.
That's good. All right. Can you tell us a little bit now about how your relationship progressed to the point where you got married?
Well, we started dating in New York, and finally he actually drove to Nyack and asked my parents if they would approve him marrying me, and they said yes. So we were married in Nyack, New York, and we had a nice little apartment in Brooklyn on Montague Street, very near the river, and I can't remember how long we were married, but I was pregnant with Rich, and Dick got called back because of Korea, because part of his education was paid for by the Navy V-12 program.
Right.
So he went off to, he was never involved in a real battle, but he was on a destroyer for, I guess it was 2 years. So I had my baby Rich in New York and went back and stayed with my parents for a little while. And then Dick came home to Newport, Rhode Island, and we were going to be stationed there. So I had to go down there and find us an apartment. And it was a little tricky, but I had a very good girlfriend. She helped me. So I found an apartment over a store on Bellevue Avenue, very elegant street, but not a very elegant place to live.
Right.
Above the store, but it was okay. And we had good friends there, and it was a strictly military life. If you were invited somewhere, you went, no matter what.
No choice,
and
right?
if you had a baby, you brought the baby, and they found a place to put the baby for the night.
Wow. How old was Rich when Dad first saw him after coming back from the Navy?
Just a few months old, and it was a very, very emotional time because Rich was baptized in Nyack at my church, the church where we were married, and Dick was at sea. He was in, I think it was England at the time,
Right.
and he knew the exact date and time that Rich was being baptized. So he got off the ship and went to find a Catholic church. And he found a cathedral. They were having a service, and he didn't know what to do. So this little Irishman who was, I guess, an usher or worked at the church, he told him, you have a son being baptized in the States right now, and I'd like to light a candle and say a prayer.
Wow.
So the little man said, come with me. So he took him next door to the convent, and the nuns went all through the baptism write with him
Wow.
and gave him holy cards to send to me, and it was an unforgettable experience. I
So he-
still have the letter he wrote me about that.
He was there in spirit then,
Yeah.
even though he couldn't physically be there.
Yeah.
That's great.
So anyway, when he came into Newport, I finally got this apartment, and all the wives whose husbands had been away gathered down at the dock, and the captain took us out to the ship in one of those little boats, I can't recall what you call them, and I actually climbed up a ladder onto the ship.
Wow.
Someone carried Rich, and a couple of the sailors yelled, "Hey, Peckstein, here's your baby." And that's the first time he saw him.
The baby
About
boy,
3
right?
months old. Yeah.
That's great. Well, you're 90 years old and you're doing pretty well for 90 years old.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
You've raised a beautiful family. How do you want people to remember you? When
Oh,
people say Bobbie Peckstein, how do you
Yeah.
want people to remember
I
you?
want people to remember me as a happy person who loved her family and her husband and her home. And I was, as I said, active in many things. I want them to remember me as a friendly woman who reached out to people.
That's great.